I want to take a moment to bring to the stage Laura Mckenzie. She is the SVP of Global Prepaid and Financial Inclusion at MasterCard. You heard the press release this morning. She's going to tell us a wonderful story and share some thoughts around a topic tied to portable benefits and the future of work. Laura spent a lot of time and focus on developing and executing the global prepaid product strategy at MasterCard. And prior to that, spent the better part of 12 years, I believe, Laura, in the U.S. merchant side of the business. Has early days background in fashion with some pretty phenomenal brands, and then moved over into the financial sector in lots of different countries and locations. So if you will, please put your hands together for a warm welcome, Laura Mckenzie from MasterCard.
Thanks very much, Todd.
Of course.
And hello, and thank you, Carl, for having me here today. We at MasterCard, and we're very excited about this morning, we, like our new partners at EdCast, are very, very focused on the changing nature of the future of work and its short and long-term impacts on worker well-being, financial security, and what we can all do to improve the lives of workers around the world. We believe that the bridge to safe, sustainable future is built on financial stability, security, and opportunity for all. The nature of work is changing, and the dynamics of the workforce are shifting with it. Technology's relentless transformation of how work is done continues to gather momentum, presenting both challenges and opportunities for people all around the world. Work can be about more than just money. And when it is, it gives people a sense of self and a place in society. Building a workforce fit for tomorrow is a challenge that might be taken up by corporations, policymakers, research institutes, educators, and philanthropic organizations to safeguard for all segments of society. We must act now to ensure the future isn't something that happens to workers and companies, but is something that they've contributed to, have a vested interest in, and are properly positioned to benefit from. It was back in 1997 that Fast Company first coined the phrase free agent to describe a new breed of workers. It was a time of rapid change when retirement watches after 40 years with the same company had all but disappeared. And workers and employers were looking for something new. Free agents were rushing to develop a portable brand they could peddle in the new project-based world of work. Fast forward 20 years and add to the rise of the sharing economy, the decline of so-called, quote-unquote, good jobs for low-skilled workers, and a couple of notable financial upheavals. What many thought would be just a blip is now a confirmed trend. Non-traditional firms, platform-based, self-employed, sole proprietor, contractors, and freelancers have outpaced the growth of traditional firms during the last 2 decades. Non-employer firms have grown overall by 2.6% between 1997 and 2017, according to the Brookings Institute, while payroll employment has grown by only 0.8%. Today, nearly 40% of employed people in the European Union are in atypical employment, in other words, not working a full-time or open-ended contract, or they're self-employed. The average working age American today will hold 11 jobs during their working lifetime, with many working multiple jobs at the same time. And retirement ages are expanding if people even feel secure enough to retire at all. Globally, the Mckenzie Global Institute estimates by 2030, up to 375 million workers, or fully 14% of the workforce, will need to switch occupational categories in order to meet the shifting labor market. And while many see the rise of non-traditional jobs as a cause for concern, Workers themselves appear to appreciate many aspects of it, according to comprehensive analysis of lower wage workers in non-traditional jobs from Uber drivers to freelance construction workers. The survey, focus groups, and in-depth discussions with more than 1,000 workers reveal there's much to like about these jobs. Yet financial instability and lack of benefits remain prevailing concerns. Technology, like many other facets of the world we live in today, plays a significant role in driving change in the workplace. It's creating new ways for people to start businesses, grow businesses, and rethink how they should operate. It's also displacing many segments of the workforce, fueling our new economy of on-demand work. It's taking over traditionally people-led roles. Automation anxiety is real. Robotics, algorithms, and AI are gradually taking over roles in the manufacturing industry. In the US, nearly half of all jobs will be at risk in the next 2 decades. In developing markets, manufacturing has been the route to rapid industrialization. But wages are stagnant and growth is stalling. It's causing people's expectations of work to change. New technology platforms are making 9-to-5 jobs less desirable and realistic. Flexibility and independence play a more prominent role in how people choose to structure their working lives. It's changing the way people conduct business. Entrepreneurs can sell their goods online and find customers all over the world. Traditional distribution boundaries have come down from person-to-person payments allow for entrepreneurs to get paid instantly through a secure process from almost anyone, anywhere. New disruptive technologies and business models allow independent workers to earn money according to their schedules. And all this change is causing a resulting fundamental change. Technology advancements and increasing consumers' on-demand consumption have led to an explosion of gig economy players, both workers and the platforms that serve them. Technology is also powering the gig platforms that allow people to make money without a traditional full-time employer. And when we say gig, it goes way beyond just ride sharing to also asset sharing, professional, freelancers, and many, many more categories. By 2020, gig workers are expected to exceed 40% of the workforce in both the United States and the European Union. As with many things that hit hard and fast, companies have needed to prioritize where they focus. And to date, gig companies have focused on people, but not processes. And not that that was wrong or right, but what's emerged is a clear need for processes to help support the people they focused on for quite some time. At MasterCard, we've worked with our partners to focus on one place where people and process come together, in payroll. We've developed and delivered first a process for paying workers, something that we would argue workers care most about. When, how easily, how frequently, and how reliably they will have access to their earned wages matters every day in every sector around the world. We've partnered with gig platforms, rideshare companies, and others to provide real-time access to earned wages outside of traditional payment cycles. By enabling rideshare drivers, as an example, to access their earned wages in time to fill their gas tank for the next ride, to pay their rent on time, and pay other expenses, we've seen a tremendous uptake in this service, validating the importance of income smoothing as a tool to drive greater financial health and security. Another place where people and process come together is benefits. Future employment opportunities don't necessarily align with the skills or needs of the existing workforce, and there isn't a clear path forward to help people transition and succeed. Helping workers maintain dignity, autonomy, or ambition through these changes will require a combination of economic mobility and financial security that can be delivered through a new kind of social safety net, one that puts benefits squarely in the hands of the individuals. Workers should not have to choose between facing a period of severe vulnerability as they shift occupations and clinging to the same job until it becomes obsolete, just so that they do not lose their benefits. Just as technology is disrupting their work lives, it can ensure that they are protected by enabling the delivery of benefits that accrue over a person's working life, regardless of the type of work they do or where in the world they do it. But gigs don't offer the same employment benefits, such as health insurance, financial tools, education, and perks that are key to workers' financial security. This is a problem for gig and freelance workers that represents an opportunity for the public and private sector to solve. The proverbial chicken and egg question: does our future workforce need all the skills and training by day one of their new job? Or without the traditional corporate infrastructure, how do we enable on-the-job training for both companies and the individuals to succeed? Kaiser Ethnographic Research, we work quite a bit with them, has shown that workers in alternative arrangements are 50% more likely to be uninsured than workers in traditional employment. 65% of gig workers say they need to learn more skills as jobs evolve. 71% of gig workers are unprepared to sustain their lifestyle. Today, we know that gig and other non-traditional workers struggle with the lack of access to benefits, diversity and better and competitive benefits, and portability of benefits, as today's benefits generally tied to a specific job. And as we've already seen through the Mckenzie global research, if fully 14% of the workforce will need to switch occupations to meet the needs of a shifting labor market, workers will need to adapt to and acquire new technology, knowledge, and skills in order to remain viable in that changing workplace. Gig workers need a portable benefits solution through which they can earn benefits that wholly belong to them as the individual, rather than to a particular employer or job. Rather than lose any benefits when they change jobs, they need benefits that can travel with them throughout their career. That creates an opportunity for companies to create competitive advantage by building cultures of constant learning. Leaders need to be visionaries in terms of creating the right learning experiences and programs. People expect employers to provide a clear point of view about, perspective on, and strategy for navigating turbulent times. They also look for companies with organizational models to support and train employees for the future of their work, to ensure their employability and employment for the long term. The ability to compete requires a company to stay at the cutting edge of new skills and perspectives, supported by learning programs and other incentives. Companies can also serve long-term and community growth by assisting with training for vulnerable workers in poorer communities. The private sector needs to use its assets to improve prospects for the underserved, whether that's providing insights on the best prospects, developing and delivering training modules, or offering internships as an example. And in doing so, the sector may just find it's benefiting everybody, themselves included. Gig platforms are also realizing they need to provide more and better benefits to attract and retain gig workers. One of the largest challenges for the platforms in today's ultra-competitive market. As well, they need to respond to new regulatory challenges servicing across the country and around the globe. At MasterCard, just as we've developed unique payroll solutions for the new workforce, we're also working in partnership with public and private sector partners to develop solutions that tackle the challenge of portable benefits. Together with our partners, we have an opportunity to make a significant difference to worker well-being. As such, as part of a broader initiative to solve for portable benefits globally, we've today announced a new partnership between MasterCard and EdCast that will allow us to work together to create solutions that leverage EdCast's digital ecosystem and MasterCard's global network to provide workforce retraining and upskilling for workers and the governments and employers that employ them in new and innovative ways. MasterCard and EdCast together, and with other coalition partners, are evaluating and developing a variety of programs and ways to support employees, employers, and governments with training, upskilling, benefits, and career support services. The solutions may include unique assets and tools, such as EdCast's Skill Coins program, linking loyalty-based rewards and enabling access for training as and when needed. These pressures also push the great gig platforms to think harder on the benefits of the future. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi has publicly talked about the need of a mobile benefit system where workers get benefits regardless of whether they're moving from job to job. Some governments are already responding to this imperative. In 2015, France established individual training accounts for all private sector workers, accessible from when they first join the labor market to when they retire. Every employee receives 24 hours of training per year of full-time work until they reach a threshold of 120 hours, at which point they receive 12 hours of training per year. More recently, Singapore created individual learning accounts for each citizen over age 24. Account balances can be spent on skills training from approved providers. Similar models have been proposed in Canada, China, and Egypt. In the United States, legislatures in a handful of states and cities are drafting bills to test and fund portable benefits. But the responsibility for developing universal portable benefits cannot fall only on governments. The private sector must also help to ensure that all workers, from the migrant to the miner to the marketing professional, have access to the tools and services they need to achieve financial security today and remain agile and productive throughout their lives. We're all watching closely as regulatory measures are surfacing, questioning and changing the structure and definition of workers and the benefits provided or not provided to different worker groups. As we know, standing here on the campus at Stanford, California legislatures approved a landmark bill, AB 5, that requires companies like Uber and Lyft to treat contract workers as employees, a move that could reshape the gig economy and that adds fuel to a years-long debate over whether the nature of work has become too insecure, and at what cost or benefit to the platforms that exist because of the gig workers that have helped them earn multi-billion-dollar valuations as they expand around the world. A coalition of labor groups is pushing similar legislation in New York, and bills in Washington State and Oregon, similar to California's AB 5, were put forth but failed to advance. These could see renewed momentum over the coming months and years as the future of work changes in real time around the globe. And this is not just a U.S. problem, as we've heard from folks around the room today, but we're watching the dialogue and lobbying heat up in every region as the often conflicting issues of worker well-being and worker rights collide with corporate results and shareholder and investor expectations. Gig platforms could increase retention, gain positive publicity, and mitigate risks if they contribute to benefits, as would governments. And the new opportunities go beyond today's gig workers to include all workers: gig, freelance, traditional, contract, and others, who are all going to need a new social safety net going forward. But we all know there's a cost inherent in providing broad or narrow benefits that must be borne by someone. So together, we must develop new and different approaches to providing and enabling access to benefits that are at the foundation of that social safety net. An important consideration is funding. Depending on the distribution and access models, governments, employers, and platforms can provide funding or benefits directly to individuals, or consortiums can pull together different assets as in a marketplace model, which workers can self-fund and then have choice in selecting the benefits that are most relevant to their individual circumstance. Today, MasterCard is working with multiple partners across the ecosystem to develop and provide a safety net for non-traditional workers. We've done extensive consumer research to understand the needs of today's diverse pool of workers. And based on that, we're designing and creating portable benefit solutions to help today's and tomorrow's workers get access to benefits tied to them as individuals rather than to a unique employer. We believe that by offering a wide range of benefits they have told us they already need, such as insurance protection, tools to help manage their personal finance, education benefits, and perks like discounts that so many of us in corporate America enjoy and take for granted, that we all contribute to enriching worker well-being, financial health, and security for potentially vulnerable workforces around the globe. With that, and to help bring some of this and the possibilities home, I will show you, I believe everybody in the room has today received an envelope like this with your badge, which contains a MasterCard EdCast preloaded prepaid card. And for those, I heard some people in the back of the room think it was a credit card. It's not a credit card. But I want you to know what this is all about. The card that you have has come preloaded to provide you access into EdCast's website so that every one of you in the room, and I hope you will, can go onto their portal, go onto their website, and see the learning and training modules that they have and access it for yourself. The instructions are on the back of the envelope as to how to load it and how to register yourself, but please enjoy. I hope you find a little bit more about and learn what we can do together as possibilities in the future. Thank you very much.